Guys, in this training video, I want to take you through the neuroscience behind all or nothing thinking and how to break that pattern. Okay, so the question is, what if it was never about discipline? So we've all experienced something like this throughout our lives. Any person that's on any kind of fitness journey has experienced something like this. They kind of bang on it Monday, something happens by Wednesday, and then you write the whole week off. If you remember the client interview we did with Paul, and if you weren't here in the program when I did that interview, and it's in the app and you can watch that back. But he spoke about if he had a packet of crisps, a packet of chips on a packet of chips if you're in Australia, a packet of crisps if you're in Scotland. If he had that on a Wednesday, that would be enough for him to just spiral and just say, "Oh, I've made an arse of it now," and he would spiral and just blow the rest of the week. And he said he repeated that same pattern or patterns of that ilk for 10 years. Like, this is a significant thing that people really, really struggle with. The domino effect of, one bad meal turns into a bad day, turns into a bad week, then it might run for a few weeks, you lose momentum, and you feel like you're starting over again. That constant starting over, starting from scratch, or else this reward spiral as well. This language that we use with ourselves, we have to be very, very careful of, I would say. A perfect week followed by a big massive blowout weekend because we've seemingly earned it. You don't earn food. You earn the right to eat food by being a human being. That's enough qualification. That's all the qualification you need. If you want to go out and have a few beers, you go out and have a few beers because you want to have a few beers. If you want to go and have a meal out, go for a burger or go for whatever, then you go and have that because that's something that you want to do. You don't earn it. It's not, I've earned this, I'm going to go and do it. And it's not a case of, oh, I've had a pizza, so now in retrospect, I have to go and beast myself with a high intensity workout or a heap of cardio or whatever because I need to burn off that pizza. Like, that is a terrible relationship with both exercise and food. Okay, so that's something that we have to watch, that that language that we use around reward systems with food and punishment with exercise, especially around our kids. If we're talking about setting a great example for our kids, that is certainly not what we want to be doing. So it's not a discipline problem. All or nothing is a pattern, a learned pattern from the brain, and it's not proof that you can't do this. Just because you've struggled with something for a long time, maybe even your whole life, doesn't mean that it can't be changed. It's not part of it's not a character flaw by you. It's not something that's inherently wrong with you or your personality or whatever. It's a pattern, and patterns can change. Okay, so without kind of going too deep here, because I'm not a neuroscientist, but let's just have a look at the key players. Okay, we've got the prefrontal cortex, more in line with rational long-term thinking, deals in a bit of nuance, and during high periods of stress we more lean towards the amygdala, the kind of emotional alarm system, fast and reactive, more kind of black and white type thinking. It's either all good or all bad. It's either all in or all out. So again, the amygdala is designed for speed, not nuance, and under stress, it can make reactions feel like all or nothing. This isn't a character flaw. This is just biology, and especially if you've been used to doing this for a long period of time, this is just, again, learned behavior. Research consistently shows that even moderate stress can impact the brain system responsible for that long-term thinking, that rational thinking. And when those systems become less efficient, the brain defaults to the simplest option, which means it's either a hell yes or a hell no. So where does it come from? Again, it comes from repeated experiences. Repeated experiences become automatic. Think about when you learn to drive a car, right? You were strangling the steering wheel, gripping onto it like for dear life. And then over a period of time, you learned, you got confident. What's happened is you've went from cognitive to reflexive learning. That's the shift that's happened there. It becomes automatic. And now you can just jump in a car and drive. You drive for an hour and you get to the destination. You forget what you've seen along the way. You've just been off daydreaming or whatever else it is. You just know what to do. So how are we rewired, or how have we potentially wired our brain? Years of crash dieting, we're either bang on it or we're bang off it because there's a lack of sustainability about it, or we haven't set things up correctly. We might have had the best intentions, but just like an equation, if you put shit in the wrong order, you're going to get the wrong answer. Again, perfectionism is another aim for this as well. Paul spoke about that as well on his client interview. Again, a packet of crisps in isolation doesn't mean a damn thing, but that was enough for him to spiral because he thought it had to be absolutely perfect, because he told himself a story about what he needed to do in order to see progress, and it simply wasn't true. Or it's a long time learning. Like, if you've had poor habits around food, around exercise, around whatever it is, binge drinking, if I can speak from my own experience as well, it just becomes like it's part of your environment. You've just kind of grew up in that for that period of time or that amount of time that it just becomes normal. It's your normal reaction to these types of situations. So it just becomes like a default. And it can be even hard to step away from that as well, because stepping away from that maybe makes you a bit of a black sheep. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to be the same as everybody else and you want to live your life by your own rules, you want to live a life by design and not a life by default, then you have to be a little bit more deliberate with your decision making and with your thinking to build your own nutritional system, something that's yours, not my foods, not the foods I enjoy and the sizes that work for you. That's typically what you're going to get. That's a typical bodybuilder approach. There's never a perfect week required. It's just the best that you can do in any given day. That's the whole point of this. It's a system that can survive those imperfect days, or a system that can survive your normal day-to-day life, because very often life is far from perfect. And when we build that system, when we build that structure and that approach, it's yours to keep. We find something that works, that fits your life, and then that's yours and yours forever. And again, the goal for adherence, this is where people get confused. The goal for adherence is 100%. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have flexibility. That doesn't mean you can't have a meal out, you can't go for a couple of beers or whatever it is. It just means you need to build the plan so that it allows for those types of things in it. So all that is built in. And then you say, based off of what this plan consists of, this is the rate of progress that we could probably expect, because this was the amount of flexibility, or these were the things that you felt like you needed in the plan. Are you happy with those rates of progress? Because then when it's 100% adherence, we have complete clarity on what each other are doing. The plan is set out, you're following the plan, and then we can look at the metrics and say, is it working or is it not? If adherence is like 60%, what are we supposed to do with that? That doesn't really tell us anything. So we have to make sure that we're striving towards this. What does one better decision look like? Nutrition, a blowout on a Saturday night. You start with a normal breakfast on a Sunday morning. Maybe you just get up, have your normal breakfast that you were going to have, high protein breakfast, and go out for a walk. You don't lie about in your arse all day, feeling hungover, feeling sorry for yourself, ordering takeaways, and then the Saturday night becomes the Sunday afternoon, and then it carries on. Training, you say you miss 2 sessions for the week, and you've got a third training session, you go, I don't want to do that. It'll be as well just starting again Monday. Just go and do that third training session, even if it's on a Friday, even if you only get half of it in. A wee bit of something beats a whole lot of fuck all. And then a night out, make the best choice available, make peace with what you're going to do for the night out, have a bit of a plan, have a strategy around it. We've got trainings in the programme that kind of cover this. Make a decision, stick to it, keep your word to yourself and move on. That's it. The most important part with all of this is any of these deviations off plan has a beginning and an end. Okay, if it's a night out, it has a beginning and an end. If it's a meal out, it has a beginning and an end. And that's the most important part. So the only question worth asking is, was whatever you did better than what you would have done before you started? Not was it perfect, not did everything go right, just that one question, was it better than what I would have done previously? Because if the answer is yes, then the pattern is slowly changing. And then the more that we reinforce that, the more we get the reps in for that, like how we would get our reps in the gym, the more we'll start to see these things to change, the more that pattern will become automatic, and the more that your decision making will become automatic and more aligned with where you're trying to get to.